All right, so when you hear the name Kenny Rogers, a pretty clear picture probably pops into your head, right? The silver beard, that warm voice, the ultimate country music storyteller. But the man we all think we know had a life that was just full of surprises and some seriously unexpected detours. So today, let's explore the many lives of Kenny Rogers.
I mean, that line, it's so much more than just a lyric. It's practically a piece of American philosophy, isn't it? And it's all delivered in that one-of-a-kind raspy voice. This single line created a whole persona that would define Kenny Rogers for literally millions of people.
And just like that, the gambler was born. This persona of the wise, kind-hearted cowboy with that unforgettable voice, it propelled him to sell over 100 million records. He became a total fixture of American culture. We all know this Kenny Rogers.
Because, and this is the really interesting part, before he was the king of country music, Kenny Rogers was, well, someone else entirely. In fact, as we're about to see, he was several other people.
So let's hit rewind. We're going to go way past all the Grammy Awards and the country fame to a place you would probably never ever expect to find him. Just look at this career path. It's a masterclass in genre hopping. He kicks things off in the 50s with a doo-wop group, then totally switches gears to play stand-up bass in a jazz trio. From there, he joins a folk pop group before finally landing in the band that gave him his first real taste of success, a psychedelic rock outfit called The First Edition.
No, I'm not kidding. The same voice behind The Gambler first hit the top 5 on the pop charts back in 1967 with a song called Just Dropped In to See What Condition My Condition Was In. It was this trippy, mind-bending track that is about as far from his later work as you can possibly get.
And here's the absolute best part, the irony of it all. This songwriter, Mickey Newberry, actually wrote it as a warning against using LSD. It was supposed to be a satire of drug culture, but Kenny in the First Edition's version was so convincing, so genuinely psychedelic that it became an anthem for the very movement it was making fun of. And of course, decades later, it got a whole new lease on life in that classic dream sequence from The Big Lebowski.
So after he left the psychedelic scene behind, Rogers really leaned into that storyteller persona. And it was one song in particular that would build him an empire that went way beyond just music.
Now here's a little detail a lot of people don't know. Kenny Rogers wasn't even the first person to record The Gambler. The song had been passed on by several artists, including the legend himself, Johnny Cash. But when Rogers got his hands on it in 1978, he didn't just sing the song, he totally inhabited it. His performance is what turned it into a piece of American folklore, winning a Grammy and launching an entire franchise.
And when I say franchise, I really mean it. The song didn't just lead to a sequel, it spawned 5 full-length TV movies. And in every single one of them, Rogers himself starred as the main character, Brady Hawkes. He didn't just sing about the gambler, he literally became the gambler.
But you know, telling stories all by himself wasn't enough. Another huge piece of Rogers' incredible crossover success was this almost magical ability he had to create chemistry and share the spotlight with other artists.
The man was a master collaborator. Of course, he created absolute magic with country royalty like Dolly Parton and Dottie West. But he didn't stop there. He crossed over to pop with Sheena Easton and even R&B with James Ingram. It was like his voice could connect with absolutely anyone.
But out of all his partnerships, the one with Dolly Parton was, well, it was truly special. Talking about their huge hit, Islands in the Stream, Parton really captured the joy they created together. She said she never got tired of singing it because of the amazing energy it brought to the room.
And their friendship just came full circle. 30 years after Islands in the Stream took over the world, they got back together to record their final duet. It was a really poignant song called You Can't Make Old Friends, just a perfect, beautiful bookend to one of music's most iconic partnerships.
So, psychedelic rocker, country storyteller, you'd think that's enough for one lifetime, right? Nope. Not for Kenny Rogers. He had other passions that had absolutely nothing to do with being in a recording studio. Believe it or not, Rogers was a really serious and accomplished photographer. And I don't mean he just dabbled in it. He actually studied with world-renowned masters like Yusuf Karsh, who taught him how to truly capture a person's essence.
And his talent was the real deal. It was recognized by the pros. In 2014, the Professional Photographers of America awarded him an honorary degree, and their president praised his remarkable talent behind the camera.
Okay, but if photography was a surprise, his next venture was in a completely different universe. In the 1990s, the country music legend decided to get into the fast food chicken business.
That's right, Kenny Rogers Roasters. He teamed up with John Y. Brown Jr., who was a former governor and, get this, the former CEO of KFC. At its absolute peak, the chain had over 350 locations. And while it eventually closed down in the U.S., it found this massive second life overseas.
You might think it's just a funny relic of the 90s, but the story doesn't end there at all. Today, there are still over 150 Kenny Rogers Roasters locations thriving, mostly across Asia. It's this huge, ongoing legacy that most of his music fans probably have no idea about.
So, when you really step back and look at the whole picture, you see a man who just refused to be defined by any single label. He was a rocker, a gambler, a photographer, an entrepreneur, and above all, a storyteller. He was constantly exploring and reinventing himself.
In the end, Kenny Rogers' entire life was maybe the ultimate embodiment of his most famous song. He always knew when a hand was played out, but more importantly, he always knew when to bet on a brand new game. And in doing that, he created a legacy that was so much richer and more surprising than any of us ever knew.